Start of the football season is also going to be the start of my YouTube season, so I'm going to have a kick and a roll with current affairs and politics and all the rest of it. This video is going to include Tommy Robinson, so you're triggered already. It's also going to include the atheist route, Atheism Unstoppable, Red Pill Phil. This video is inspired by many things that have been happening in the world over the last month, year, decade. Go back far enough, you can talk hundreds of years. But with an issue like this, the conversation needs to take place. Not only does it need to take place, but it must take place in a way in which is open and honest. Stick to the issue, and hopefully we can get some clarity. Two things we'll be looking at in the first video is the conduct of the people who disagree with Phil and in the way in which Phil presents his argument. Those of you who actually know me personally can imagine that I would get into arguments in the street. So watch the body language of this woman. Okay, so this is the opening of the video, and you've got to watch the whole thing if you haven't, but it's the starting point.
Ranting at me, right? I am. You can see what colour I am. So don't you dare try and put it on my toes. Oh no, you've come, let me explain. I grew up in this country in 1970, yeah?
So we're already looking at the tactics. It seems as if by this point Phil's having to defend his life history. Like, clearly a man in his 40s who's mixed race or black is going to have had a more difficult experience in terms of race relations than a 10, 15, 20-year-old now in Britain, okay?
And it's almost like they feel that I've got if I zip this skin down underneath, it's white. And that's how they kind of make me feel. But I'm like, really? I am just a human being, full stop. Not right.
You're not right, no.
Do I tell you something?
You're a traitor to your own thought. If you think they're okay, God help you.
Work now.
How do you work now?
Hold on. Before you start ranting at me,
yeah,
right? I am. You can see what colour I am.
I can.
So don't you dare try and put it on my toes. Oh no, you've come, let me explain. I grew up in this country in 1970, yeah? Do you know what I used to see when I come out my front door?
What?
The letters NF.
Yeah, and that's what they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not. Because when you break down what they're actually trying to say, it's actually common sense. When you look at it, you're the guys that are causing the problem here. All yous are dressed in black with your fucking balaclavas.
I've got a balaclava. Where's my balaclava?
Shit going on. Calling everyone a Nazi.
The Nazis?
So I'm a Nazi.
You must be.
I am a Nazi.
You must be.
Yeah, you hear that? She reveals herself. You must be a Nazi. There can't be any other explanation, Phil, for being there. Where's your swastika? Where is your swastika, Phil? Oh wait, no, he's explaining a quite important intrinsic aspect of modern Britain, which is what black and brown people have had to go through over the last 5 decades. It's a struggle, but he's there fighting on the issues, not on the skin colour, not on the gender, the issue. Don't know about you, but I thought he holds himself really well there, actually. Obviously you get a bit of bad language when you're arguing in the street, but the abuse he had to deal with there, and the prejudice that he wasn't allowed to have these views because of, oh, they are Nazis.
The speech through political correctness, people cannot speak in this country anymore.
It's inciting hatred.
Stupid.
No, I'm not.
Stupid.
Moron.
What?
You know,
Calling Muslims is not inciting
no one's calling.
Kill the infidel is probably inciting hatred more than people going to campaign against the people who perpetrate these crimes. This is nonsense. We live in a nonsense reality.
What evidence? There's no evidence.
Evidence? Come and have a look. It's on the fucking floor. They threw it over.
I've seen what's gone on. I've been stood there and watching you throw.
They threw it.
Everyone stood there being peaceful.
They threw
What are you guys doing?
I got hit with a fucking smoke
I've been
bomb.
stood there.
I have been over there.
You cannot tell me what I've seen with my
And
own
how do I
eyes.
fucking seen you, dickhead?
There you go. There's your debate right out the window.
Because you can't talk to an half-wit.
An half-wit?
Yeah,
I'm an half-wit now.
Ding, ding, ding! And the winner of the argument is Phil. Put your hand in the air, sir. The second that the abuse comes, that's when you know your argument's won. His points are valid. He's not talking about all Muslims. We're talking about Islamo-fascism. We're talking about rape jihad. It's very straightforward. But these feeble-minded regressives, awful failures as socialists. She's wearing a Corbynite shirt. You're meant to be a good communist. Communists care about the working class everywhere. Nonsense.
You know, can I just say one last thing, yeah? This is stupid, because you're talking to someone who's lived through... Thank you. I've lived through multiculturalism.
And the multiculturalism that was post-war, there was a necessity and a need for people to come to Britain. We had a massive labour shortage, but they wanted to be here. They wanted to love this country. You can't say the same today in 2017. I really don't think you can.
That are coming in, the bad apples, not all of them.
What
So
they're saying all of them
No,
about.
they are not.
Yes, they are.
No, they are
Oh,
not.
Yes, they are.
It's the body language and the face of a loser. And also why I can't be in the Labour Party until this gets sorted.
You've got some of them that are doing that because, of course, you're going to get people, the bad elements that tag, just like some of these that are the bad elements that tag. Well, of course, it's common sense. But what you're doing is no better than what they're doing, and you've got to see that. Dressed in black, look at you, half of you don't even know what the fucking hell's going on geopolitically. Seriously, wake up.
Go on.
Thank you, wake up. Wake up.
So yeah, that real world that we live in, spent a lot of time around many people with very different views, but one thing that always could be agreed upon was that you do not insult someone based on their appearance, or that their appearance, sexual preference should be a reason why their argument is wrong. And he gets to the point as well, what's going on geopolitically. The numbers in raw terms of Muslims who endorse these acts at Manchester and wherever you have it, that's what you're getting at, is you get people who are talking about, oh, you've got to protect the rights of Muslims in Britain. Well, what about the atheists in the Islamic world? What about the Christians in the Islamic world? They get brutalised and butchered, but you keep very quiet on that. And then there's the feminists who are going, oh, it's time for a woman president, but didn't give a monkeys about the fifth-rate status of women in the Arab world. Moreover, when we're talking about jihad, Islamists, Islamofascism, whatever you want to call it, terrorism by Muslims, we're not saying that the innocent Muslims in Britain have to have their rights stripped. We're saying that their community really need to get out and be open about this.
There's certain liberties that we had 10, 15 years ago. Your kids, my kids, will never have again. That's it, done. And the more it happens, the more they're going to take more and more liberties. And I don't mean take liberties, I mean literally take the rights that you have in order to live your life as a so-called free person. It just isn't happening.
Okay, so if you watch the whole of Phil's video, this beach video, his motivations are made really clear, and his background is also revealed as well. So you should watch that.
All you can do is kind of voice your opinion. And there's still a hell of a lot of people there that are still so asleep, it's unbelievable. I can understand why they're asleep, I really can. I'm not going to get too angry with anyone, because you know what? There's times I've felt, I wish I was still asleep. Ignorance is bliss. If you don't know about it, then it's not going to affect you. You can just carry on living your life. But then there's part of me goes, well, you can't do that, because once you know, you know. And I'd rather know and be informed.
Okay, so that's Red Pill Phil. I'd invite you to head over to his channel and subscribe. Tell him Keith sent you. And now we're on The Rebel, and we're going to hear Tommy Robinson and a bit of LBC. I will do a more detailed video on Tommy, because I think he's one of the most interesting characters over the last 10 years in British politics, and I'll stand by that. So here we go.
This year, Britain has seen 4 Islamic terror attacks, an average of 2 acid attacks a day, and soaring knife crime in London. Some of these recent terror attacks that they've stopped, they were foiled just minutes away from being successfully executed.
Okay. But some of them were, we would say, were very close to an attack.
In a related...
Very close.
What, literally?
Yes.
Minutes?
Yes.
Minutes away?
Yes.
God, goodness me.
Within minutes, you got to say so much respect for the law enforcement. Like, their failures are public, but their successes are very private. You know, very secret when they win. They've got to keep quiet about it. Okay, and now in front of you, you have a piece of work by a man named Devon Tracey. This is the regressive agenda, and this is for everybody, for the good of all people who want to have a good discussion, hash out issues, and really get to the root problem, cause, effect. Now, as you can see as we're going through this, some of these tactics were used by the lady in the first video against Phil. You got to mention that it's not all. Remember, oh, they're saying it's all Muslims. Well, no, they weren't. Phil wasn't saying that, and I don't think the UK Against Hate March is saying that. Those three characters, like, I did watch the Young Turks for a bit, don't get me wrong, but it kind of gets rammed down your throat, and now you figure out, and now you know about YouTube algorithms and the fact that, yeah, they are a sponsored, highly promoted channel, the Young Turks, but this guy has pretty much single-handedly eviscerated them day in, day out for years, and they couldn't hack it in a debate against the man. And this is his website, atheismisunstoppable.com, and the regressiveagenda.com before that. All the people shown in this video were British, though when you go over and listen to Devon, because you're going to go and subscribe, you'll hear a very American West Coast accent. Yeah, so that's Red Pill Phil, Tommy Robinson, Rebel Media, Atheism is Unstoppable. Go over there, subscribe, tell them Keith sent you. I will leave you with one of Devon's songs, Conor McGregor.
What's up, New York City? Recognize your real dawn when you see one. 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 It's the N-O-T-O-R-R-O-U-S. You just laid out. Shout out to the greatest of all time, the Notorious B.I.G.